I'm here with the comedian Ron Placone. Hey, Ron.
Hey, Jimmy. How's it going?
Also here with Hank Thompson.
Hey, it's me.
Guess what we're talking about?
Colin Kaepernick.
Colin Kaepernick. It's a hard name for me to say for some reason. I was saying Kaepernick, but that's not his name. That sounds more like a space shuttle. The Kaepernick. Remember that?
Yeah, the Copernic launch. Yeah,
I remember
when
the Russians put Copernic in space.
Yeah, they got there first.
Copernicus, the famous astronomer.
Yeah. That's right.
The guy. Yeah.
Copernicus. Mm-hmm. So anyway, there's a guy. He's the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, and boy, he's really causing a lot of. He's exercising a little free speech. He's being a little anti-authoritarian, and well, here's what he's not standing for the national anthems. Right, he's not doing that. Mm-hmm. I don't know why they play the national anthem before sporting events. BTW. That means, by the way. I wish they would stop doing that. I don't know what playing football, that doesn't have dick to do with the revolution of America. Nothing. It has nothing to do with it. I don't know why we do that. We sing the national anthem at a football game where some guys, you know what it is? Because it's all propping up the military. I went to a Rose Bowl. I went to a Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, to see the Rose Bowl itself. And they flew the bomber, those stealth bombers flew over. People were like, oh, and then they had the Marines come out. Whoa. Hey, I think that's all bullshit. I don't think that's you're selling war at a football game, at a college football game. You're already selling booze. Now you got to sell war. Well, Colin Kaepernick is he's upset, but not for those reasons. That's why I got a problem with the whole bullshit of wrapping football and patriotism. You know what football is? Football is you're selling fucking guys beating the shit out of each other so everybody can get rich. It's entertaining. It's like boxing. Do they play the national anthem before boxing? I think they do. Anyway, I don't understand the whole national anthem before sporting events. Do they play a national anthem when you go to the movie? It's just entertainment. There's just entertainment. Do they play the national anthem when you go to the skating rink? I'm trying to think of situations. So here's what he says, because he's not standing. He says, I'm not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people and people of color. To me, this is bigger than football, and it would be selfish on my part to look the other way. There are bodies in the streets and people getting paid leave and getting away with murder. So he's standing up against everybody's been talking about for at least the last few years since cell phones had cameras that the police are murdering people. And they're way more brutal, and they escalate violence, and they're doing it especially if you're a black guy. And it doesn't seem to matter if you're unarmed or have your hands up, or if you tell the cop you have a gun and you're just going for your wall. Doesn't matter. Cops are shooting black people, and it doesn't seem to make a difference. We've talked about it a million times on this show. There's videos all over this, and so he's saying, "Hey, I want to up the ante on this. I want to really talk about this. I want to bring the conversation in." And so people started to make cartoons like this, and it's like, oh, can you see? And it says the modern symbol of oppression in America. Oh, he makes a lot of money and being an entertainer, so apparently he doesn't have a valid opinion anymore. Or isn't that exactly the people who should be speaking out? The people who actually have something to lose. That's what that is. That's a guy who has something to lose. He has a $119 million contract to lose. His endorsements to lose. He knows it's going to be controversial. He's going to piss off a lot of people who don't understand what America's about. A lot of people who don't get what America's about. A lot of people who side with their oppressors. So that's what apparently you're damned if you do. If you get a big platform and you don't speak out, people go, he never helped his own people. But then when he does, they go, oh, that guy, why don't you get out of the country? Right? What do you think about it, Ron?
Well, you know what? My thing is, the only thing, and I thought it was awesome that he did it. I wish he would have done something just a little more cause-specific for some of the stuff that you were hinting at. The NFL, which is an organization that I love to hate and hate the fact that I love. I watch the games on Sunday like a true hypocrite. But
me too.
Oh, yeah, man. But they are such an excessively nationalistic organization. It's disgusting. So after he did it, instead of the conversation being about his cause, you hear a bunch of these commentators talk about patriotism and what it means to be an American, and listening to them harp on those talking points is probably a lot like trying to hear an 8-year-old talk about chemistry. There wasn't much substance there. So that was just frustrating to have to hear, especially since, you know, dissidence is the greatest form of patriotism. So in a way, say. He's more, quote, patriotic than any of these shills, talking on cable.
I like what you said. Dissidents. That is what America's all about. We were founded on a frickin' revolution, right? We're supposed to be about freedom of speech, and that's why when you do something like this, where you don't salute the flag, that is a great. That should be cheerleaded by Americans. Like, look at the freedom we have here in America. That would be like if he criticized the president and people went, "Hey, what are you doing criticizing our president?" No, that's the beauty of America. We're not so insecure that we can't handle people voicing different opinions about our culture inside of our own country. That's the beauty of America. That shows our strength. But there's people like, I don't know, Larry Elder, who is a black Republican, which is a special kind of psychological disorder they haven't yet named. I'm not sure what it is, but if you're a black Republican, I'm going to say not a lot of integrity. I'm going to say either that or you don't know that all your friends are racists. What do you think about black Republicans?
I have one friend who is a black Republican, and his logic, I just don't understand. Like, we have conversations.
I have gay friends who are Republicans too.
And we have conversations for hours, and I'm like, why are you subscribing to this team? And then he's like, well, I just can't, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but dude, like,
yeah, you can be you can be a libertarian. You don't have to be a Democrat. You can be a libertarian. You could be a Green Party. You could be anything.
That's what I tell him. But he's an older guy, and I don't know if that's
something to do with it. You're going to prop up the people who've been trying to. If there was up to them, you wouldn't get to vote. Because they're passing voter suppression laws all over the country as soon as they get rid of the Voting Rights Act. Anyway, so that's Larry King. Larry Elder says founding fathers fought for liberty. MLK fought for civil rights. Kaepernick, how do you say it? Kaepernick fights for the right to lie about cops.
Wait, that...
Okay, I'm going to fix this tweet for you, Larry.
Those were lies? What were lies?
The founding fathers thought you were 3/5 of a human being. The guys that you worship as a black guy, the founding fathers thought you were an animal. You weren't even human. That you should be literally chained up like a dog or worse. They're your founding fathers. That's who those guys were. MLK fought for civil rights. MLK did fight for civil rights, which is exactly what he's doing. Kaepernick. It's exactly what he's doing. Martin Luther King would be disgusted by you. Because it doesn't take any guts, Larry, to go with the majority and stick up for the country. Oh, the country got its feelings hurt. If you had any balls, Larry, which you don't, which is why you side with your oppressor. Which is why you side with people who oppress your own people. Because you're messed up in the head. And you're gutless. This takes courage. What you're doing takes no courage to side with this majority, to side with the powerful. And by the way, he's standing up for black people against the police state. You can't even do that. Ugh. I got an offer to go debate this guy in Ventura. I'm not going.
You're not going to go?
No, because he would host the show, and you can't swear. He's one of those assholes. You can't swear in a comedy club. Yeah, so I don't want. He's distasteful.
Well, the lie about cop things, I think, screams the I mean, tell that to the family of Tamir Rice, Eric Garner, Michael Brown. The list goes on and on and on. Tell them that those are lies about cops. I mean, come on.
So there's that term Uncle Tom, which I don't think white people are. Are we allowed to call black people Uncle Toms? It's kind of iffy, right?
Yeah.
But if we were allowed, he is one. But if we're not, I won't call him that. But if we are, Larry Elder, what happened to you? What happened to you? Martin Luther King wouldn't have a goddamn thing to do with you. You sellout of your own people. You're a black Republican? The guy who's... Oh, by the way, the guy who's the GOP nominee says America is horrible right now. hates America, thinks we need to make it great again because it isn't anymore. But that's okay. You can embrace that guy. That guy's super duper, you moron. There aren't enough strong enough words to describe the mental defect of Larry Elder and his certain brand of selling out. You know who didn't sell out? What would you say about these? And by the way, when Martin Luther King was around, I'm sure you were against him, Larry. I'm sure you didn't have the balls to stand up with him then, just like you don't have the balls to stand up against white oppression now. I'm sure you didn't stand up with Muhammad Ali. I'm sure you didn't. I'm sure you called him Cassius Clay till he was 80. There they are. Remember, there's Muhammad Ali, Jim Brown, Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Those were guys who knew something about having to stand up to somebody. When did you ever stand up to anybody or anything? You know what you did? You didn't stand up to anybody. You sold out, and you turned your back on your own people. You didn't stand up to your own people. You turned your back on your own people. Anyway, that's the real deal. These are real guys with real courage, making a real difference. Not you pandering to the people who want to put you in chains. Ugh. What a gross. It's a gross thing. Am I out of my mind, or is that just one of the grosser things?
It's
black
pretty
guy.
Gross.
Pretty gross.
Especially the last part. I mean, that's the part that hits me the hardest. Like, oh, that was
he fights
lies.
for the lies about
these
cops.
dead bodies. Those are lies. Really?
So then you smear him on top, and it's just a smear of a guy doing the right thing.
Well, it's interesting he's a black Republican, and just a Republican because one of the things that I noticed too, all these people that are against him, they try to broaden it, and they're like, well, these sports figures should just stay out of politics. And I was like, oh, okay, so I guess you were offended when Tom Brady spoke out in favor of Trump, and Ben Roethlisberger was going to speak on Trump's behalf too. That offended you too, then, right? No, it didn't.
No. So when Mike Dick
wonder what's different.
Yeah. Again, they got the guy who they're voting for running around the country talking about how messed up the country is, how our leaders are horrible, how we lose. We're losing all the time. We're big losers. The country's horrible. And we're going to make it better. We're going to make it great again. But this guy, he wants to make it better, wants to make it great. What bullshit ways to try to dismiss him, by the way? Oh, he makes money. Oh, he's successful. We should only listen to people who aren't successful. People who don't have a platform. Ugh.